All right, this meeting is being held pursuant to Executive Order 16 of the Governor of the State of Tennessee. As such, all members of the board must be able to hear me and each other. If you cannot hear other members, please notify me immediately. All votes will be done by roll call. This meeting is available to the public on public access television and is streaming live on YouTube. I will go ahead and take roll now. We'll start with the City of Brentwood. Curt Bednar.
Here.
Chief Hughes. Do we have anybody from the City of Brentwood Police Department? All right, Chief Goss. Or anybody from the Brentwood Fire Department?
Russell Peterson.
Russell Peterson. Thank you, Russell. All right, we'll go to the City of Franklin. I know Eric was not able to be with us today. Is Christine Brock on the line with us? All right, Chief Faulkner.
I'm here.
All right, thank you, Chief. Chief Johnson.
Here.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll go to Williamson County. Is Sheriff Rhodes on with us, or is Mark filling in?
Mark, I'm here.
All right, Chief Elrod, thank you. I am present, and Mayor Anderson is on another conference call right now. All right. We'll bring to order the Williamson County Joint Communications Network Authority meeting. So because the point of order, make a motion if you could say at least your last name with that so we can get that in the minutes. Jamie is on the line taking minutes. So go ahead and put the minutes of the February 28th, 2020 meeting on the floor. Can I get a motion?
It's Curt Bednar. I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, motion is on the floor. Can I get a second?
Elrod, second.
Thank you, Chief. Motion and a second. Any deletions, changes to the minutes? All right, all those, we'll have to take roll call. So we'll go right down the list. And I see Christine is on the line now. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, sir, I can. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, roll call. Curt Bednar.
Aye.
Russell Peterson.
Aye.
Christine Brock.
Aye.
Chief Faulkner.
Aye.
Chief Johnson.
Aye.
Chief Elrod.
Aye.
And myself, aye. All right. Next on the agenda are reports, and we'll start with the treasurer's report. Curt Bednar.
Thank you, Bill, and I appreciate you all showing on the screen here. Hopefully everybody also received these couple of reports by email yesterday afternoon from Jamie. But the first item is the current year budget report, and you see that on your screen. And this is through, as it shows, May 31st. So reflective of everything on the bank statements through May 31st. And I think, as you all know, we have a very simple and limited budget in the current year, and also really going forward next year. So you see the revenue there, budgeted revenue of about 123. Through the end of May, just about 105,000 had been collected, and this revenue all comes again as a reminder of basically the per subscriber fees charged to the other entities, Nolensville, Spring Hill, Help me out, Bill. Who's the others?
Fairview.
Yeah. And then a little bit of revenue from the ambulance authority down in Murray County. That was a partial year thing. So that's what that revenue is. There has been an additional payment in June that will get us up to our budgeted number, but these numbers reflect through the end of May. No real expenses, direct expenses of the authority in the year. Just a reminder that for those Franklin, Brentwood, and Williamson County, our contractual payments for the Motorola system itself still run through Williamson County and not the authority. So that's why you don't see any expenses there related to payments to Motorola. A little bit of interest earnings that all add up to through the end of May, a little over $105,000 in revenue. And again, with no direct expenses to the authority. So that's our fiscal year 20 budget report through 11 months. And I don't know, Bill, do we actually adopt this or just make the report?
Yes, I think we'll have to vote on it. So
Okay.
thank you.
If
All
there's any
right.
questions, I'd be glad to answer them, or Bill or Amy if she's on the line too.
Yeah, can I go ahead and get on the floor to accept the FY20 budget report? I need,
Elrod, make a motion to accept.
all right, Chief Elrod, motion. And is there a second? I don't know if we need a second on it, but we'll go ahead.
Johnson, second.
All right, thank you, Chief Johnson, second. All right, we'll run down the roll call to accept the budget report as presented. Curt Bednar,
Aye.
Russell Peterson,
Aye.
Dean Brock,
Aye.
Chief Faulkner,
Aye.
Chief Johnson,
Aye.
Chief Elrod,
Aye.
and Bill Jorgensen is an aye. All right, that is FY20 budget report is accepted. I'll turn it back over to Curt.
Yeah, so if we can go, for now, this would be the fiscal year 21 proposed budget. You see revenue there of $120,800. The really only difference there is the AMR ambulance system down that was serving part of Spring Hill. Obviously no longer is doing that, so they are no longer have units on our system. I think, Bill, have we confirmed that there's been no change in the subscriber unit numbers for the other entities, or is that still underway?
That is still underway, and I will be sending out an email next week to each of those entities to confirm their number. So it is possible that the revenue could go up a little bit. We did see a few more radios in Spring Hill, but I just need to get those chiefs to confirm that.
Yeah, so that the budget number you see there is based upon the subscriber numbers that we have today. As Bill just said, it could go up a little bit if they've added some radios. So that's the revenue sources there. We do have, we'll have some expenses in the upcoming year. You see there $8,500 for audit services, and that's an agenda item that's a little later on your agenda to approve an audit contract. Some expenses related to some QuickBooks accounting software charges there, small amount for office supplies. And then if we scroll down, we put $2,000. Oh, we do have, I think that's trying to line up my lines there. Miscellaneous, I'm sorry. Yeah, we put $2,000 in miscellaneous simply because not quite sure what might come up during the year. Some printing costs, might have a meeting or whatever where we have some food brought in, who knows what, but we just put $2,000 in miscellaneous just to have some budgeted amount there for some small expenses. Again, we're anticipating that any Motorola direct related contract payments will come through Williamson County because that's the contract, I think, and entities would pay Williamson County. So again, there's no reflection of Motorola related contract expenses in this. I guess going forward in the future, we can have a discussion about whether that eventually, when we get to maintenance and all, should be reflected here, or whether that's going to get billed directly to each entity from Motorola. Kind of 6 of one, half a dozen the other, I think. I know the net would be the same. So, but right now, none of that is reflected in here. Again, a little bit of interest income. So again, a very positive budget in the long term, 120,963 of revenue and a little of 11,000 in projected expenses. So I'll be glad to answer any questions. And I do want to say I appreciate really Bill and Amy Gossett putting this together. I'm presenting it, but I don't want you all to think that I had a lot to do with it other than the ability to take a look at it. But so Bill and Amy, I appreciate that.
Yeah, see, you're covering yourself there, so see what you do. All right, thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Can I get the proposed FY21 budget onto the floor, please? Get a motion.
All right, I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mark Elrod. And we get a second?
Johnson, second.
Thank you, Chief. All right, we got a motion and a second. This is to adopt the proposed FY21 budget. We'll go ahead. Any questions about that before we take roll call? All right, seeing none. Curt Bednar,
Aye.
Russell Peterson,
Aye.
Christine Brock,
Aye.
Chief Faulkner, Chief, it may be possible you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, aye.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Johnson,
Aye.
Chief Elrod,
Aye.
myself, I will vote aye. All right, passed unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer, for hard work on those reports.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll move on to report of standing working groups. And I think the only report we'll have today is the technical working group. Mr. Allman.
Thank you, sir. We've met with Motorola, actually met with them yesterday, and we'll report on some outstanding items that are still remaining to be completed. One of the significant ones for us is notifications from what we call UEM, it's Event Manager, and that sends alerts out to the staff of Brentwood, Franklin, and the county. So if there's a system problem or even just a warning, we will get those warnings. They're in process of completing that now. Number two, Williamson County Sheriff's Office has 16 radio installations that are in the project. 8 are in process now, and they're saving 8 more for future vehicles. Correct?
The Sheriff's Office doesn't have any more. We've moved those over to just to distribute those wherever they're needed.
My mistake. So they are in the project under Williamson County for that. Yes. Of course, the Sneed tower site build, that's still remaining. And once that's done, coverage testing of the entire system after it has been optimized. Optimization is where they take all the sites, the radio frequencies, and make sure that they balance everywhere and fill in all the gaps as needed from a technical standpoint. So significant fund balance, project fund balances. There's a training credit of $22,360 that's remaining. Out of the initial $300,000 from the Motorola technology credit, we have $172,830. And Williamson County has a technology credit because they made an early payment for some of their equipment of $23,000. And that's all I have to report. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Hey, John, this is Kirk or Bill. Can we get a little more of an update on the Sneed Tower thing as far as where that stands?
Sure. Williamson, well, the board's legal counsel is working with Crown Castle legal counsel now. The landowner's agreeable to what we're doing, which is to remind everybody, Crown's going to unlease property and then we're going to release it. Now we're working on electrical easement and egress, ingress description, and I think that's about all that's left. So hopefully in the next 8 weeks or so, we'll have all that worked out. But then we can start all the environmental. Motorola can start all the environmental work, and then there's some work that can't take place probably till October, and then we can start building the site. So hopefully by spring of 21, the site will be up and operational, I would think. I hope, as long as everything keeps moving.
Steve Palmer is also in the room. He's our system engineer today, and a couple weeks will become our system tech after we accept beneficial use. Steve, do you have any comments you want to add?
No, I believe Bill's right. We have we won't be able to clear trees until October, so I believe that we will have the site operational hopefully early spring.
I wasn't going to say anything about trees.
Sorry.
It's okay. We have to wait till October because of the Indiana bats. If there are any trees up there that have Indiana bats in them, we have to make sure we're not doing that during their migration.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions for John? Great report. Thank you. Obviously, with the since we haven't met in a few months, and then with Steve leaving, who was heading up the operational working group, and going to Nashville, we do not have a report from that group because I don't think they've met. But we're going to address that down under new business here in just a minute. Any unfinished business that anybody's aware of? All right, seeing none, we'll move into new business. First item is change order 8. We've been working very hard to get to this point, to change order 8. This with the vote on this, if we approve it, as proposed here. Everybody should have received a copy of it. This will push us over into warranty starting July 15th. And if anybody from Motorola, I hope that's the right date, but I think it's July 15th. So warranty would start for 12 months starting July 15th of next month. And then we would start paying, I think Mr. Bednar addressed this earlier, we would start paying maintenance starting in FY22. This also gets our system, is system tech the right word, Steve?
Yeah, system technician.
System technician on board officially July 15th. Basically, change order 8 also refers back to change order 6. In change order 6, I'll just make a comment that we approved change order 6, which that change order documented that 75% of system acceptance will be billed once all agencies have been migrated, excluding SNEED implementation and coverage testing. $1,701,927 will be the amount billed, and it'll be billed proportionately per agency after the acceptance, if we accept change order 8. The details for change order 8 are on the screen. Also, some extra items as we were going through the project. Some things came up along the way that were worked on, either added or subtracted from the project. Radios, some technology credit items, but that's up on the screen right there, and you should have received it in your email yesterday. If I could get change order 8 on the floor, I get a motion to accept change order 8, then we can have discussion about it.
This is Kirk Bednar. I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, Curt Bednar, motion to approve. Can I get a second, please?
Russell Peterson, second.
Russell Peterson with a second. All right, discussion. Anybody have any questions about change order 8, or does Motorola have anything they want to add to it? Wow. All right. That's great. I mean, a lot of work has gone into getting to this point, and it's been discussed at every meeting up to this point of getting to change order 8. Last chance for any questions. All right, none seen. We'll go ahead and take roll on approving change order 8. Curt Bednar,
Aye.
Russell Peterson,
Aye.
Christine Brock,
Aye.
Chief Faulkner,
Aye.
Chief Johnson,
Aye.
Chief Elrod,
Aye.
and Bill Jorgensen is an aye. That passed unanimously. Next item on the agenda is system acceptance. You should have received this in your email. I'm putting this on the floor just to allow the chairman to sign this. And system acceptance, we just approved in change order 8. So just need a motion to put this on the floor to authorize the chairman to sign it.
Kirk Bednar again, so moved.
Thank you, Curt. Second?
Elrod, second.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and any discussion about system acceptance? Just understand that this is related to change order 8. All right, none seen. We'll do roll call. Curt Bednar,
Aye.
Russell Peterson,
Aye.
Christine Brock,
Aye.
Chief Faulkner,
Aye.
Chief Johnson,
Aye.
Chief Elrod,
Aye.
Bill Jorgensen is an aye. All right, thank you. That passed unanimously. Number 3 on new business is the vacant board position. There's a vacancy was created from the Franklin Fire Chief. I think the interim chief right now is Chief Johnson. I did see an email from Eric who recommended Chief Johnson fill that position and get that motion on the floor to accept appointing Chief Johnson as a representative from the City of Franklin Fire Department.
I'd like to make the motion, Deb Faulkner.
Thank you, Chief Faulkner. We've got a motion. Is there a
I'd like
second?
a second. Christine Brock.
Thank you, Christine. Christine Brock, a second. Any discussion? All right, we'll go ahead and go down roll call. Curt Bednar,
Aye.
Russell Peterson,
Aye.
Christine Brock,
Aye.
Chief Faulkner,
Aye.
Chief Johnson,
Abstain.
Chief Elrod,
Aye.
and Bill Jorgensen is an aye. Congratulations, Chief Johnson.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 4 are audit services for the board. you should have received a one-page proposal from Job Hastings and Associates. Kurt, did you want to cover this or you want me to cover it?
If you don't mind, Bill, go ahead. I think you've been the one that's been talking to him.
Okay, thank you, sir. Job Hastings and Associates, just to give you a little background, has been doing the Williamson County Emergency Communications District audits for quite a few years, and the district has been very pleased with their audits. I also sent an example of their most recent audit of the Emergency Communications District to Curt for his review. But the decision we need to make is, at this point, one, we need an audit. Job and Hastings seems to be comparable because the ECD goes out and looks around every 3 years to see, look at different audit services and their costs, related costs. And this is the fee that they're asking for seems to be reasonable. What we have a choice to do under the fee here is it says we are proposing a one-year fee of $8,500 for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020, or a 3-year proposal for our services in the amount of $7,500 for each year ending June 30, 2020, June 30, 21, and June 30, 22. So I think we need to make a decision on do we want to do it for 3 years or 1 year? We did approve in the budget for the 1 year, but obviously the 3-year agreement is cheaper, and we just wouldn't expend those funds at that point. I guess I need to get this on the floor, and then we can have discussion. Somebody make a motion.
Motion to approve, Johnson.
Thank you, Chief Johnson. Get a second?
Second, Elrod.
Thank you, Chief Elrod. We've got a motion and a second. Discussion.
Bill, this is Kirk. Obviously, if you saw the budget, everybody saw the budget. I mean, our finances are pretty straightforward. But as in the next few years, that it may get a little bit more complicated, especially if we decide to bring in maintenance fees from Motorola and have those flow through the authority, which again, we may or may not do. But the fact that you all are comfortable with these folks through your ECD budgets, some people may say even $7,500 or $8,500 for what we have financially seems like a lot of money, but there is just some base overhead costs. And Christine can talk to that too for auditors to even take on an assignment. So I don't think the fee is outrageous, but I'd be comfortable if we want to clarify the motions to accept the 3-year fee. On the same side, this is the first year we've had an audit, so maybe people are more comfortable just agreeing to 1 year and then deciding going forward. I'm fine either way, but it makes sense to get these folks on board and make sure we're operating our financial records accordingly.
And they did submit a sample contract, and that the lights shut off. They did submit a sample contract, and legal counsel is reviewing that. But it's also been reviewed it's the same thing they sent the ECD. So depending on which way we go, it'll reflect it in that contract. Christine?
I would just add what Kirk's saying, that they're typically, and certainly these contracts allow if there's a some sort of a just problem with the firm itself if they can't fulfill the obligation, but typically a 3-year engagement is what we see, or sometimes even 5 years. But we're just getting started, and this is a fairly a simple audit, but there is an aspect to accounting that if we really wouldn't want to select a new firm every year unless there was just some specific reason why we had some sort of trouble with an audit firm.
Okay, thank you. So do we want to clarify who made the motion? That was Chief Johnson, was it?
Yes.
Would you like to clarify your motion for 3 years?
A motion to approve 3-year contract.
Any other discussion on that motion? Is that okay with you, Chief Elrod, since you seconded?
Yes, I'll second that new motion.
Okay. All right.
Amended motion.
Any other discussion? All right, none seen. We'll go ahead and take roll call. This will be to approve a 3-year contract with Job and Hastings and Associates for audit services. Kirk Bednar,
Aye.
Russell Peterson,
Aye.
thank you. Christine Brock,
Aye.
Chief Faulkner,
Aye.
Chief Johnson,
Aye.
Chief Elrod,
Aye.
Bill Jorgensen is an aye. All right, last item under new business is the Operations Committee Chairman vacancy, which I mentioned earlier. We do have a vacant chair on that committee. And maybe Chief Elrod can help me with this. You're on that committee, are you not?
Yes, sir, been the co-chair.
Okay. I guess we need to accept, I'm not sure if this is nominations or we just appoint somebody. Does anybody have, I guess we need to take nominations, maybe. I don't know, any legal folks want to help me out with that?
Who's going to fill the position that Steve had?
That's what we're doing now.
No, I mean, on the committee itself.
Oh, that Steve had it probably, well, I don't know. It'd have to come from emergency communications, I guess, somewhere. If that's the makeup, somebody needs to be on there from, I think, the dispatch center. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be the director of the dispatch center. It doesn't necessarily have to be the chairman of that group. We could just move up the co-chair. Is Chief Elrod interested in that?
Sir, I will do that if that's what's decided.
I'm not sure that answered your question, Bill, if he was interested.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to, we don't want to put somebody in there that's not interested in doing the work. There is work to be done.
Well, I have worked with the committee since the beginning phases of the project, and I don't mind doing it one bit if that's what is decided.
Okay. So we've got Chief Elrod as, does anybody else have anybody that would be on that committee as the chairman? I think we go ahead and put this on the floor then and vote on it. I think we would be voting on, I guess, appointing Deputy Chief Mark Elrod as chairman of the Operations Committee. Can I get a motion on that?
Motion to appoint Chief Elrod as Operations Committee Chairman. Johnson.
Thank you, Chief Johnson. Can I get a second?
This is Deb Faulkner, I'll second it.
Thank you, Chief Faulkner. All right, we'll go ahead and any more discussion about that? We'll go ahead and do roll call. Kirk Bednar,
Aye.
Russell Peterson,
Aye.
Christine Brock,
Aye.
Chief Faulkner,
Aye.
Chief Johnson,
Aye.
Deputy Chief Elrod.
Abstain.
Thank you, sir. And I, Bill Jorgensen, will vote aye. Thank you, Chief, for taking that on. You're going to have a meeting Monday?
Maybe Tuesday.
Okay. All right, just checking. All right. We're moving on to other business. Is there any other business for the board? John Allman's got one item. While the rest of you think about other business, go ahead, Mr. Allman.
I'd just like to take this time to thank all the agencies and folks who helped with the funeral. a lot of behind the scenes work, and Officer Legaza was definitely honored, and I appreciate all the help that came from the supporting agencies that helped us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
And Bill, this is Kirk. I was just actually going to say the same thing. John and I had coordinated. We're taking every opportunity we can when we're in a setting like this with the other groups to just, again, express our thanks for everything that went done to support us. And I know we've done the same for others in similar cases. And while we don't hope to ever have to do it again anywhere else, we kind of know in the business that we're in that the likelihood of that at some point in time in the future is real. So again, we just appreciate the mutual support that we all have for each other.
And I know from emergency management and the county fire service system and Office of Public Safety, our thoughts and prayers are still with the city of Brentwood, the police department, and the family. So that's what we do, is we all jump in. I mean, it was amazing. The whole county jumped in, help out with this. So, all right, any other business? All right, seeing no other business, thank y'all. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you.